Shut up and sit down.
I'm a hungry man. That's what
It's a table-tipping, jaw-unhinging, supersized food phenomenon.
Speaking my language.
New series, Ginormous Food, premieres Friday, January 6th at 8.
Welcome to Sarge Approved. Sergeant Frenzy here.
Oh, hi there.
Busting out the Minnesota accent.
Oh, yeah, tonight it's coming out.
We got a guest this evening, and his name is Josh Denny, comedian and host of Ginormous Foods.
Hi, Josh.
No, Ginormous Food on the Food Network.
Yeah.
Singular.
Glad you corrected yourself
Yes.
so I didn't have to be the guest who comes on and just starts correcting you at the very beginning.
Come on, dude, get your shit
That's
together.
okay. Hey, Josh, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys?
Really good, thank you.
Been looking forward to having you on. Thanks for sharing your time with us this evening.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it as well.
So, where are you coming to us from tonight?
Currently Santa Monica, California.
Frenzy's lived in Santa Monica, I believe, didn't
I
you?
did.
And you guys were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm at the promenade right now, so.
Oh, I used to work on the promenade. At the end, I worked at a shop on the promenade, and then I worked at the stupid mall at the end of the promenade. I actually
Before
became
it was rebuilt.
Yeah, before it was rebuilt. Like, I actually became addicted to the, there's like a, I can't think of the name of it. They sell like corn dogs or like cheese dogs, but they're corn dogs. And they sell lemonade, and the lemonade's like the big deal. And they dress up like clowns, kind of.
What? What nightmare is that?
It's like a
They're about hot dog on
concession
a
place. Yes, hot dog on a stick. Thank you so much. I became addicted to their lemonade when I worked at that freaking mall. It was horrible.
That's crazy.
I know, the cherry lemonade.
Was it because their food was that good, or did you just like their ridiculous outfits?
I just loved the outfits. Like, honestly.
You're not scared of clowns?
No, they weren't like full out clowns. They were kind of wannabe clowns, maybe, but trying to be not clowns. I don't know. But ultimately, it was the cherry lemonade because I got like a mall employee discount. So I think I got like a fill up for like $1. So I just totally became addicted. Probably a diabetic as well, but it was good. I was like 21. I was fine.
Let's pause for a second so we can hear a word from our sponsor.
Shut up.
Hey, this is Frenzy here to talk to you about National Survival Center. This is the place where you can purchase all of your outdoor camping gear and supplies, survival kits, disaster preparedness supplies, bug out bags, and even survival food. All with some of the lowest prices on the internet and free shipping on almost everything. You can depend on National Survival Center to provide you with the highest quality gear paired with superior customer service. And when you purchase your gear from National Survival Center, you're not only getting a great product, but you're receiving products that have all been hand tested to ensure that they'll be reliable, durable, and that they'll function properly. So whether you need some gear for a family camping adventure, or maybe you want to stock up for the zombie apocalypse, National Survival Center can provide you with the quality products you're looking for. You can find them at www.nationalsurvivalcenter.com or www.survivedon'tsuffer.com. Either way, don't suffer, make sure you survive.
Welcome back. We're here with Frenzy and Josh Denny talking about hot dogs on a stick and the promenade.
And diabetes.
And diabetes.
Yeah, if you want to know what those outfits look like, just imagine what you would wear if you worked at a place called Hot Dog on a Stick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can imagine.
Yeah. It's not good.
So we were chatting a little bit before we started recording and found out that you spent a big chunk of your life in Minnesota, where we record out of.
Yeah, about a third of my life in Minnesota. So I'm like, I guess I'm officially now 1/3 Californian, 1/3 Minnesotan, and 1/3 East Coast.
Yeah.
You didn't pick up the accent while you were there, while you were here in Minnesota, though, did you?
Well, I had the really bad Philly accent when I moved to Minnesota, so it just sort of fixed that. But I never picked up the thick Minnesota accent.
Give me a
Thank
Philly
God.
a Philly accented word or phrase that would have been, associated with that accent?
Yeah, give us some Philly.
Well, the
Little
most popular. I'm from a part in Philly that's just outside the city called Delaware County. You'll hear people refer to it affectionately as Delco, and we're most famous for pronouncing the word water as wooder. They'd be like, "Yeah, you want a cup of water or something?"
Yeah, Minnesotans do that too.
how
There's
it
some
sounds.
old timers that still say "worsh."
That's exactly what Kevin Goatee was talking about. Remember?
Yeah,
He
that's
brought
right.
up Werder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it Kevin Goatee?
Yeah, it was Kevin Goatee. Hey, Kevin. What up? Listen to Kevin's podcast and watch Watching Comics.
Oh yeah, I gotta plug our.
Got to plug him in. Sorry. Yeah, he said the same thing. That's funny how that word totally changes. Just it's like I feel like Werder would be spelled Wurder. Werder.
Yeah, water.
Yeah.
Water. It's close. But you spent basically your real formative years in Minnesota. It was like 15. God, I heard it. Minnesota. 15
Yeah.
to 26 or something like that.
You should hate yourself as
Oh,
much
it
as you just
sucks.
did that second right there.
It's seriously.
There's an episode of Family Guy where they make fun of that accent, and my girlfriend always quotes that when she hears my mom talk, because my mom's lived there now for about 20 years, and she has it thick, and she grew up in Michigan anyway, so it wasn't far off to begin with. She makes fun of the way she talks, and just like you guys.
It's bad though because you don't notice it, and then when someone points it out to you, then you notice it, and you're like, "Fuck, that sounds so horrible." Like I just feel like stop talking.
Not as bad as Chicago and not as bad as Boston as far as women are concerned. Those two accents are the most unattractive accents on women anywhere.
When a girl has that accent, like that Joyzy
Yes.
accent, ugh,
Yeah,
Joyzy.
I don't know.
Boston's the worst, though. Boston on a woman is the absolute worst accent. They sound like dock workers.
Right, and I feel like if you're having sex with one and they talk dirty to you, you kind of feel like it's not like is it what's happening? Like it's probably a little bit awkward.
Well,
It's not very sexy.
Yeah, they sound like a Family Guy character. Like, what do
Right.
you want me to suck your cock? You're like, no, I don't want.
No, I don't want. No, mm-mm.
I'll suck you
I
fucking
don't want anybody
cock.
to do that. I don't even think I have a quack. I don't know what that is.
I'm missing it.
Joshua, fuck me, Joshua. I can't do it.
Yeah, you don't want that. Yeah,
No.
you don't want that at all.
Yeah, I totally get that. So I guess I don't know I think it's interesting how different regions of the country have different accents, because whether or not you want to admit it or not, it's true. But what I guess is the preferred one? I mean, I think everyone kind of has their own opinion of what they think sounds cool.
Like your favorite accent?
Yeah.
I don't think any of them
thought
sound
about it.
cool. I think British accents sound cool. And I will tell you, a girl with a good Southern accent, that can be very charming. But other than that, it's like most of the American accents are stupid.
Yeah, agreed. I guess for me, if I picked my favorite, it would be Australian.
That's not American. Oh, you mean like around the whole world?
Favorite in general.
Yeah, Australian's good, but I would say British. Like, and by the way, like proper uptight British. Do you guys know Natalie Emmanuel from Game of Thrones?
I don't watch the show about dragons and boobs.
I've never seen it. I'd watch
Yeah.
it.
I'd watch it too. It's on my list.
She plays like one of this sounds horrible. She plays one of the slaves to the Queen of Dragons or the Mother of Dragons, but she's in real life from like a very posh part of Britain, and I could listen to her talk all day. She's also in the in the new Fast and the Furious movie, and she was in the last one, the one when Paul Walker died. But
Okay, I know who she is.
But yeah, she's got a very proper and prim British accent. That's the best one.
Okay.
It makes you feel safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it also sounds so proper that when they say dirty things, it makes it better.
I can
Because
see
you're
how
like,
that
you're
would
not
happen.
supposed to be saying these things. Yeah, you're like, this voice isn't supposed to have these thoughts.
You're dirty times 2.
That's so naughty.
Yeah, it's like Mary Poppins. It's like if Mary Poppins was talking dirty to you, like, oh dear.
I bet you
Oh,
there's
dear.
there's Mary Poppins porn out there somewhere.
Oh,
I don't.
sure
Please
of it.
don't ruin the childhood of people. Just let's move on past Mary Poppins porn.
Okay, let's
talk about chicken dicks or dick chicken or something else.
How about we
besides
talk
that.
about Josh Denny's comedy? Did you kind of get your start in Minnesota, I assume?
Yeah, so I started doing stand-up. I played in bands a lot when I was younger, like from high school into my early 20s, and then I kind of stopped playing music around 21, and at 23, I think I was 23, I started doing stand-up comedy. And the first place I ever did an open mic was at the now defunct Goonies Comedy Club in Rochester, Minnesota.
Rochester? They just got like 10 inches of snow today. Do you care about that?
Yeah, that's... No,
I'm
I
in
really
California.
don't.
I don't give a fuck about your snow.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
it's,
like,
yeah,
there could be people
I
that
hear
you know
guys.
trapped.
The weather's horrible everywhere. It's 54 degrees and sunny out here, so you're right. It is a terrible,
I take it.
terrible
so
winter.
sad for you.
So-
It was like 60 and sunny here like 3 days ago, which is super random.
So
And it's probably only 54 here because we're a block away from the ocean. Where I live, it's like 68.
Perfect.
okay, so back to comedy.
Sorry.
So you were in a band. What kind of band were you in?
Like a new metal band, if you guys know that genre of music.
For those who don't know,
Elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, break it down for us.
New metal is like Korn and I guess like Incubus and Limp Bizkit and all of those types of bands
Rage
that
Against
were
the
really
Machine.
big in the early 2000s.
What was your band called, man?
We were called Broken, and we spelled it with a Y because we were super badass.
BROKYN. And did you guys? How long did that go on, and how did that turn out for you? Like, you guys see any success with that whatsoever? Did you actually do any gigs?
Hell, well, we did gigs. Yeah, we did a bunch of cover gigs and stuff too.
Yeah.
We actually one of the things that we were famous for was we used to do like a heavy metal cover of Jungle Love, Morris Day and the Time.
Yeah.
So that was our kind of that was like one of our few cover songs that we kind of rearranged and made it like modern for the time and the places we were playing music. But yeah, no, that band really went nowhere.
And
That's
so you're
okay,
like,
but you had fun doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, those were some great memories, and those were good buddies of mine. And, you know, it's like typical band story. Like the bass player decided to go back to school, and now his life is boring. And then the drummer decided to have a kid, and his life is boring. And the singer got married, and his shit is boring. So, you know, I was the only one who was like, I don't want to be boring. I'm going to keep doing music. And I played with other groups for a little bit after that, and then found comedy a few years later.
well, what made you decide to take the leap over to comedy?
Well, I was always a funny guy. I was definitely funnier than I was musically talented. And it was just one of those things that clicked. Like, I was always funny off the cuff with my friends, but I never really got to a point where I felt like I could be fun on purpose. Until one day I was like just riffing with a friend on the phone, and I thought, well, wow, this could be stand-up comedy. So I just started looking up open mics and rehearsing, and went to one in January of 2007, like right after Christmas, and it's been nonstop ever since.
How'd it go that first time?
Pretty well. I mean, people hated me because of music and playing in front of large groups of people. I didn't have any stage fright. I also had to do a lot of like speaking in front of groups for my job back then. So there was none of that getting on stage nervousness. It was really just about like remembering the beats and the material. But they only give you 3 minutes when you first start out. So I did like 2 jokes. It went really well.
I feel like 3 minutes, I feel like, is a good amount of time for your first time, isn't it? Is that the norm?
Well, when before I knew anything about comedy, I only knew it from television.
Right.
So, and I had gone to one stand-up show like right before Christmas in 2006. I'd seen Dave Attell and Sean Rouse and Al Jackson at Fort Lauderdale or West Palm Beach Improv. Sorry. And that was when I kind of caught the bug and was like, I want to do this. Maybe I can like take this stuff that I was chatting about with friends and write it down and make it actual material. And but I thought that everybody did like at least a half an hour when you do stand-up comedy.
Oh, jeez.
So when I showed up and they were like, you get 3 minutes, I was like, I guess I'll do like 1 or 2 jokes because I had like 30 minutes of shit written.
Really?
That's
So
awesome.
not only did people think, not only did people hate me when I started in Minnesota because I had no nerves about being on stage for the first time, but I also was doing open mics every night of the week and bringing a different 3 to 5 minutes to every show. And these guys are like, Jesus Christ, this guy already has 30 minutes. I was out featuring for people on the road after like 2 months of doing comedy. So,
Wow.
you know, there was a lot of sort of animosity towards me from people that have been in the business for a long time who, you know, it took them maybe 3 years to get an hour together. And I had a
Right.
half an hour before I ever picked up a microphone.
Yeah, but you know what that is? That's being prepared and planning. Guess what happens when you do that shit? The things that you're doing. Like, it's, I'm just speaking the truth.
A lot of comics don't do that. A lot of
Right.
comics aren't diligent with writing or trying to come up with stuff. Or on the flip side, some of them try to write too much and then they overwork their material. And by the time they take it to the stage, it's beaten to death. And the premise is like they've drilled it down so much that it's just not, it kind of loses its fun and its sharpness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a sweet spot in the middle there somewhere that is ideal when you have something right and you don't want to overcook it for too long.
Right.
I saw this this set that you did in Coon Rapids back in, what was it, 2008 at Willie's. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that was back in the old mohawk and leather jacket days. I remember it well.
That was a good set, though.
It was a good one.
I was looking at it on YouTube, and it's got about 8.5 minutes of that set in there. And I don't know how long the whole set was. It looks like it's kind of been clipped together, like a little montage of it. But
it was taken out of about a half an hour of stuff.
Okay, that was a good one though. It had me laughing. I wasn't expecting it. You know, like I see your character, like you on your show, GINORMOUS Food, and you look kind of like this squeaky clean guy. And then like I watch your set from back in 2008. I'm like, oh damn, this guy's got some edgy material.
Yeah, it's well, that's because on television that's called acting. And you know, that's the network. That's kind of what you're doing. So, you know, I wouldn't say I'm playing a character, but I'm sort of playing only parts of my personality, right?
Yeah,
so when you're doing a role, it'd be the same as if you hosted a late night talk show. That's not really about you as much as it's about the guest. So if you're used to being the funniest guy in the room, you got to kind of take a step back and let the guest shine a little bit. And it's kind of the same thing with me, but more with the food and the chefs versus, you know, talk show guests.
Yeah. Right, you're basically focusing on the food, and that's the reason why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and I can tell you there's probably all kinds of edgy stuff on the cutting room floor because I'm still myself when we're filming, but that's the beauty of editing is that they can cut all of that out and use, you know, the clean stuff that they like.
All the F-bombs, like, this is really fucking good, man.
Yeah, well, you know, I learned pretty early on that, you know, to kind of temper those a little bit because even though we can edit it out, you're still in a restaurant full of people that are going to watch the show at some point. So you want to break the fourth wall. You don't want to shatter the building.
Right.
So what has been, obviously you've gone through one season of filming. You're going to be moving on to filming the second season in March. As far as season 1 goes, what was your most favorite food item that you had? And did you have to take Tums afterwards, or were you good?
No, you know what's funny is people always ask that. They think that I'm like on the verge of vomiting every day. I take On It Total Gut Health, which is a digestive supplement. I take that with every lunch or every sort of ginormous food that we eat.
I didn't know they had digestive supplements.
Yeah, it's like it has like 10 different digestive enzymes and probiotics in it. So, you know, basically what that does is it keeps your body digesting. Your state of digestion when you're eating it just kind of keeps it on cruise control all day. So if you're eating like, it's great for the show, because if we're eating like we eat for the show, I'll make the first dish with the chef, and we'll film that portion, and then we eat that. And then we'll make another dish with the chef, and we film that portion, and we eat that.
Yeah.
And then we take lunch, and then we come back and we do the ginormous thing, and then we go out to the dining room and we eat that. So you're kind of grazing all day. So you kind of need something that says, when you take these pills, it's like, hey, this meal's not going to end for the next 10 hours. So let's just keep it rolling.
Keep it going.
And is that just kind of keeping you level? You know, are you gonna have to bust out a treadmill pretty soon?
Oh yeah, I work out. I'm working out pretty nonstop since I've been back. I was doing ketogenic diet and working out right when we got done filming, and I lost about 13 pounds. And then I put some weight back on through the holidays because I also got sick at that time. I got that really bad flu that everybody had, and my girlfriend and I were both sick for about a month.
You're supposed to lose weight when you have the flu.
Yeah, well, it's different, though, because when you're doing a ketogenic diet, you're not eating any sugar or any carbs, you know, and then you get sick. The first thing you want is sugar and carbs.
Oh, really? You can hold
Yeah, well, you know, think about your comfort foods when you're sick and you don't want to get up and cook or you don't want to go to the grocery store. The first thing you want to do is, like, eat a meatball sandwich or soup and grilled cheese, and that stuff is just loaded with sugar and carbs.
Yeah, all of it. Ugh. I've done that, but then I agree with you. Like, it's not usually when I'm sick, but sometimes when I'm hungover, that's when I crave like chips and bread and like crappy things for me. And then I feel
your body's intelligent too. Like I feel like you have cravings for a reason, and it's usually to satisfy some either nutritional barrier or some addictive property in your body's chemistry. So, like, if you're used to having so many milligrams of sodium every day, and then you cut out sodium, your body's going to go into like it's like being addicted to heroin. We had withdrawals when we started doing ketogenics. We got about 7 days in, and I would have stabbed a kid for a piece of chocolate cake. My cravings were so bad.
Well, look at those people that have this addiction to eating dirt. And it tends to be that they end up having like an iron deficiency or something. They have some kind of deficiency. I think it's usually iron, where they have this craving to just eat dirt. They'll just grab a fucking handful of dirt and start eating it all the time.
Yeah,
and
so it's almost like this instinct to seek out the mineral.
Yeah, your body is saying, I need this mineral, and it knows that you can get it right here from this clump of dirt you can grab with your hand and shove in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
Some of those things are probably healthy, and then there's some of them where, you know, your body does the same thing to you when you're addicted to drugs or you're addicted to sugar. So sometimes you need to know when to power through those cravings, and other times when you need to give in to them. It's different for everybody, but I think everything in moderation is a generally good kind of way to practice anything that you're doing, that you're into.
Balance in all things.
So I try to eat a little bit here when I'm away from the show and work out a lot more. Although I will tell you, my approach was last time to eat through the show, do our 2 months of filming, and I was like, then I'll just hit the gym hard when I get back. And I got back and I was 16 pounds heavier than when I left 2 months before. So I was like, I got to work out at least every day and maybe twice a day while we're filming. But the digestive supplements definitely help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should just have them get you like an elliptical bike that you can hop on in between takes. And
is your energy level good?
Yeah, I mean it was tough in the beginning because, you know, your filming days go long, so you're getting up at 6 in the morning and leaving the hotel at 7, and you get there at 8, and then you start filming in the kitchen around 8:30, 9 o'clock. You go right up to lunchtime. Then you're filming afterwards, and then we have a lot of B-roll and stuff to do in the afternoon. So, but yeah, it's a little different. When people talk about working like a desk job for 8 hours a day, which I did some of that too and worked retail for many years, but it's different from performing for like 6 hours straight. Imagine doing like a 6-hour stand-up set where your mind is working the entire time, your voice is working the entire time, you're projecting, you have to be high energy for the camera. It can be pretty exhausting by the time the day is over.
Well, yeah, when you feel like shit, you can't exactly slack off and be like, well, I'm just going to look at these TPS reports quick and see what's going on. Like, you can't just sit there and
you can get just
wait until it's time to go home.
You can get just as exhausted by working your brain all day long as you would as, physically exerting yourself.
Well, and it takes discipline, too, because the tricky part is, like, let's say the camera crew gets in at 7, my call time is 8, and we're there till 6, but I'm done at 4 o'clock. What do you think the chefs want to do with me while the crew is filming food close-ups and OTS? They want to feed me their food.
Right.
So, like, some of it is, like, being able to politely say, like, no, we're good, thanks, because, season 1, yeah, I love food. I want to eat everything they put in front of me. But when you come home and you're like, I just gained 16 pounds in essentially 4 weeks of filming, I can't be doing that.
Yeah, I'd be like, I think I just want to take a bite and let you know how it is, and then if you could just wrap the rest up for me in a doggy bag, I'll bring it home and share it with my fam.
Yeah.
And, like, no one has to ever cook, like, ever for, like, the whole time you're filming.
Oh, yeah, if you took, like one of those giant pizzas or something,
yeah,
leftover pizza for the rest of the year.
Well, that's one of the things that's one of the reasons, too, why we really insist that the restaurants promote the hell out of our shoot days and we pack the restaurant, because we don't want to all be, like, the crew and myself don't want to have to eat all the food, so we'd much rather give it to patrons of the restaurant and send people home with, slices of ginormous pizza or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, are you guys generally staying in the same kind of basic area during each season? I didn't get the chance to see all the locations you've been at.
So, yeah, we did, we're always kind of looking for 3 cities, because we go out and we film 3 cities at a time, about 2 weeks of filming. And we try to find 3 that are within driving distance of each other that are interesting to viewers from a culinary perspective. So, like this first group we're doing Atlanta, Columbia, Charleston, and Jacksonville, which we've announced already, all the locations and the dates for filming for that. And then after that, we'll be doing Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Tucson. Then we'll be doing, I want to say, Mobile, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi, and New Orleans. And then after that, we'll be doing Cleveland, Detroit, and Pittsburgh.
Oh, you're getting closer to Minnesota.
Yeah. So, we talked about that, having been
close
from there, and I got a lot of friends from that area who are in the restaurant business that would love to have us at their restaurants. So, it's just a matter of, I'll tell you, if we do like Minneapolis or Chicago or Milwaukee, any of those, we would love to be there in August, and we definitely don't want to be there in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit.
What is the time of year that you guys generally shoot?
Well, this whole thing is kind of new. So we did our pilot. We filmed Sizzle in January in Atlanta last year. We did our pilot in April in San Antonio. And then we started filming the new season in September. So, a show like this, it's interesting because, they're pairing us with Triple D on Friday nights, and they want a lot of episodes very quickly. So this could end up being a thing where we film year-round, or sort of like with a couple months off in between. But shows like this generally get to a point where they're almost filming year-round. And so you just kind of shift where you go based on, the probability of good weather.
Well, how did you get started on this show? You were doing stand-up before, and I noticed you had some videos that some other stuff you had in the works.
Well, yeah, like shorts and stuff. Yeah, most of what I was working on before this show came along was scripted TV projects. Like I was working on a couple different series, and I wanted to try to go out and pitch those. But the thing that led to doing this was my podcast, March of the Pigs, which was really me getting together and eating food with other comics and actors and stuff like that, and just like talking about food and then kind of interviewing them and talking about their projects. And of course, like your guys' show, we would trail off and talk about a million different things. So that actually was kind of what led to when the production was looking for me, or looking for someone to host the show that's now mine. They were looking for somebody that had a background in both food and comedy. And because of the podcast, I popped up on their radar pretty quickly. And we started the whole process about 18 months ago. And here we are today.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. Bet you weren't expecting that when you started that podcast.
No, and matter of fact, because I had done podcasts with people so long before that, I kind of had this huge resentment for podcasts, and I was like, God, every comic has one. And then one of my fans, I guess, or friends reached out to me, reached out to me and was like, why don't you do something that's like food related? And so we kind of brainstormed it and put it together, and I started doing that about 2 years ago.
And you're still doing it, right? You still have that March of the Penguins going
Yeah.
on?
March of the Pigs, you mean?
Or pigs.
Yeah,
Yeah, we get we talk about penguins for 90
and how
minutes every
the
week.
dads are super good dads because they hold the eggs between their legs.
And then we eat a penguin every
Yeah.
episode.
So for upcoming
Yeah,
stuff
the
that you
guest
have,
every week is Morgan Freeman.
yes, or David Attenborough would be cool too. Like he's my jam.
Right.
Those documentaries with him, like they're the best ever. So upcoming stuff, you've got something coming up on the 28th. You're filming in Atlanta. Is that right?
Yeah, that's when we start. So I fly out on Monday, and then Tuesday we start filming this next block of episodes.
And it's called Bone Lick Barbecue.
Yeah, that's the first location for this season. So
Okay, cool.
Bone lick.
And then it's Peach
like
and the
it.
Pork Chop. I like their names. There's pretty.
That's got to be part of the
Awesome.
process. Is the interesting names they have? Like, oh, Bone Lick. Fuck yeah, let's do that one.
I like it. It's good. So if
yeah,
you
the real hard thing with doing a show like this is, you could go to every city and do a giant burger or a giant pizza. We're trying to get away from that a little bit and branch out and do some different dishes. So I think you'll see some really cool stuff in this next block of episodes.
I like it.
You gonna do any of the food challenges?
No, yeah, so that's the big difference with our show. We don't do food challenges. Part of the interesting thing about that, and if you've read any of the comments on our social media posts for our show, one of the things people hated about Man vs. Food was how gross the eating challenge thing was.
Oh, it could get pretty nasty.
Apparently,
I agree. I hate watching other people eat food. Sorry to interrupt,
So-
but I hate it.
Our show is kind of like, how can we have the fun of a Man vs. Food without the grossness of it? And we came up with, I shouldn't say we, but my production team who developed the show came up with the idea of like, well, what if we make this cool stuff and talk about it and show all the components, and then we just make everybody in the restaurant share it and eat it together. And that was kind of what we came up with, and it tested really well. And when we ran the pilot did really well, and then the first few episodes have done really well. So we've just continued on that path. But yeah, I mean, if Scripps wanted to make Man vs. Food again, they would just make it again. I mean,
Right.
They have the option. It's not like Adam owns the rights to the show himself. So, there's all kinds of ways that they could do that. And our show was originally developed by Travel Channel, which did Man vs. Food. So we talked extensively about, like, hey, is that ever going to come back? And, I know it's one of those things that Adam, I think, has a love-hate relationship with, because
I can imagine.
it gave him his whole career, but it also came at, I guess, a great physical toll for him, too.
Yeah.
So, question that I should know this, but I don't, so I apologize. But if you were to go to any of the, the restaurants that you go to, or like the 14-pound bagel, or the Cincinnati chili, or any of those places, or any of the upcoming episodes, can anyone just walk in and order that off the menu?
Well,
and be like, what up? I'm down. I'm going
different.
to do it.
Yeah, it's different in every place. So some of them are eating challenges that are on or off the menu at any given time. You can just walk in and go, I want to do this seafood UFO, and then they'll make it for you.
Okay.
The big pizza in San Antonio, for instance, you have to make an appointment to do those, and they only do them one day of the week.
Okay.
So
What's that one?
that's
a-
the Big Lou's 62. It's
pizza.
a 62-inch pizza.
Oh my god.
And then there are some, like the big pancakes in Baltimore, the Fall Harvest pancakes. Those are only available from September to January, like through the holiday season. So it kind of stunk that our episode aired right after Christmas, and then if you watched it, you couldn't then go get those pancakes.
Oh,
which was just
man.
poor timing.
Yeah. What about the burger in Louisville? The full pound of ground beef? Like, that's crazy. How many patties was it? Do you remember? How many patties they got out of that
It
pound?
was one baby cow.
No, it was a baby cow.
Yeah, you're talking about in the Louisville episode, that was the double Southern Belle.
Right.
And that's actually, I think there's only 2 patties on that burger. But what makes it so tall is the sliced fried green tomatoes that are on it.
Okay. There's like 6 of them.
Like that giant pizza. Like what was something like that cost if you were to just order it off the menu or make it?
I want to say I think it's $170, but
Damn.
it feeds 30 people. So like a lot of the people that order that are like sports teams, like like a bunch of kids win a little league game, they want to bring them all in. They'll order one of those pizzas and it feeds the whole team and the parents and the coaches.
Right. Or you have your fantasy football draft there and you order one of those.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're really big with sports and stuff like that. That's a great example. Fantasy football draft, stuff like that. So they're all different. The classic whale bagel that was in Philly, that's done primarily as a catered out thing.
Okay.
But yeah, as we mentioned on the show, it sort of came out of Larry's regular Jewish guests wanting something to kind of break the fast for Jewish high holidays. So he came up with that, and then so like a Jewish family will order that on like the last day of the Jewish New Year or the Day of Atonement. When they're fasting for either one of those holidays, and they want to kind of have a party at the end of it, they'll order one of those, and it feeds a whole family of 10, 12 people, something like that.
Nice.
14 pounds.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
some people have tried to, some people have gotten a little angry about that because, they're stuck in the man versus food world, so they want everything to be challenges and they want everything to be available on the menu year round. But, we're really showcasing these chefs' creativity, and some part of that creativity is that some of these things aren't always available. So,
Right.
that's part of the fun.
Plus, like, sometimes I make pancakes for a normal-sized human being. They're normal-sized pancakes, and I don't burn them, and I feel proud of that. I can't imagine making a bagel that can, hold 14 pounds of things in it, or 12 pounds, or however much the bagel weighs, like, minus that. But being able to create that and make it taste good and look appealing and all that stuff, like, that's pretty cool that they're able to do
Special
that.
equipment or something.
Something, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a great example. So for that 62-inch pizza in San Antonio at Big Lou's, they had to get a custom table made to hold that size pizza.
I'm
like
sure.
That pizza is 80-something pounds when it's all done. 80 pounds of pizza.
Holy
It takes 4 people to carry it out.
Right. Plus,
So-
so you have to not try and puncture the crust underneath while you're putting it in the oven. Make sure that it's cooking thoroughly. You're not burning the middle of the sides. Like all the things that go along with just making a normal pizza in
How do
your
you have
oven.
an oven
But
big
an
enough?
80-pound pizza that's 62 inches big. Like, I would have anxiety
Right.
about making something like that.
They said big ass ovens.
Well, and it took him, he said it, Brian, who's the owner there, said it took him about 6 months to figure it out.
Right.
Like, they
I'm
just kept
sure.
experimenting with it. But I'll tell you, people go, well, why on earth would you do that? Well, okay, so let's say he spent $20,000 over 6 months getting all the equipment to make those in any kind of duplication, right? Any kind of mass production on that, which when I say mass, they might do like 10 a week or something.
Right.
But
Your food cost.
That advertising cost, if he were to try to do a 30-second commercial even on local television, you're looking at about twice that amount of money.
Right.
Now, because
Plus,
he's gotten famous from making giant pizzas, his restaurant is basically 4 restaurants in one. And when we were there, like, keep in mind, we were filming the pilot. This wasn't even a show yet, and there were probably 150 people that were just in that restaurant because that's how they spend their Wednesday or whatever.
right.
So, I mean, it's a very successful restaurant, and a lot of these things become calling cards for these businesses to bring in customers and to compete.
Yeah.
So I
Well-
love that aspect of the show the most, is that we're really showcasing entrepreneurship and creativity in terms of how people try to launch their business.
I was thinking about saying something, but I don't want to say it now anymore.
What?
Well, I was just
No,
thinking
go
about
ahead.
you're a restaurant owner. Obviously, like probably top 3 concerns are food cost, liquor cost, and labor costs, essentially. So if you're looking to reduce your food costs but make some money still, you're going to look to make these big pizzas, these big bagels, these big sandwiches, because ultimately your labor is going to be pretty much the same. It may be a little bit more, but your food cost is generally going to be the same because you're not really ordering anything more. You're just maybe utilizing more product to start out with. So it makes complete sense that they would do that because their food cost really isn't going to change that much. And ideally, your food cost is probably, hopefully, between 32 and 35% of your total product. So I guess in a way,
you're absolutely right. On these bigger items, their food cost actually comes down to about 20 to 25%,
which is perfect.
Well, I should say it could, because some people want to add value in that too. So some of these guys just like the idea that they can keep a 30% food cost, but give the customer a much better value. And that's just your choice as a business owner. But if you extrapolate out, you're charging the same, unit price on those bigger items, you're definitely going to make more money. The same reason why they don't sell individual toilet paper rolls and you don't buy individual toilet paper rolls. The same mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'd buy individuals.
If they were triple ply, I would buy individuals.
Yeah, if you go over somebody's house and they have individually wrapped rolls of toilet paper, they stole those from work.
Absolutely. And that you also put some in your pocket to take home because those are the shit.
I brought individually wrapped toilet paper rolls to the studio tonight.
You did. They're very individually wrapped in paper.
So are you doing are you still doing any stand-up, or do you even have time for that anymore?
Yeah, I try to do as much stand-up as I can. I don't do much when I'm on the road, but I'm working with my agents to try to get, some dates mixed in my off weeks and things like that. But, it's tricky because book at least 6 months out or try to. We can't book that far out because we don't know what the schedule's like for the show yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I suppose.
So, as much as I think we're scheduled to be done filming these episodes in May, but we could get an order extension after these next 4 air in April, and then we could find out we're just staying out until September. We don't know yet. So,
how many episodes do you have slotted so far?
Well, we have 13 in the upcoming schedule. We've already filmed 7 if you include the pilot. So that's basically, we will have done 20 episodes in about a year and a half.
Do you think that you'll ever take the show overseas at all?
Good
like
question.
Canada or
that's a real good
Europe
question.
Or anywhere? Like eventually you're going to run out of places in the United States to go to, right?
Well, you think so, but it's kind of crazy. Like since Man vs. Food came on the air about 2 years ago, I want to say the number of people who've done eating challenges has gone up by 1,000%. So the interesting thing is how shows like ours spawn more ginormous food. So I've got people emailing me from all over the world going like, I just made this thing today. Come to my restaurant.
Nice.
So, the place we just ate at the Venice Whaler, like they're not known for ginormous food, but because my friend Nick is the chef there, and we have a show. He's like, I would love for you guys to come here. He's like, he's brainstorming ideas of ginormous foods that he could create to get us in there. So, everybody wants to get in on the fun. I don't think we would ever run out of places to do in the U.S. But I will say, I personally, I would love to go to a different place or a different country. The only thing that factors in there is the travel cost. To take an entire crew overseas, and you've got visa expense, and much as we'd all love to do it, we could do about 5 episodes in the U.S. for the cost of 1 episode overseas.
Oh, absolutely. And I didn't mean that you would ever run out of places. I just meant that the format that you're going with right now, where you try to connect 1 or 2 or 3 places together that are local, kind of connected, where you can spend 4 or 5 days and hit them all up at the same time. I just mean like there's probably maybe going to be like more back and forth.
I wonder if that's even a thing in other countries, though, having ginormous foods on their menu. I wonder if that's more just of an American.
Oh, I'm sure.
I will tell you, it's kind of adorable because one of the fans of the show, and I don't know how he's watching it because we're not on in the UK, so he must be watching some pirated version of the show. But he owns like a burger truck in the UK. He was like, I'm going to make a ginormous burger, and he made one and sent me a video of it. And it's just like what a normal burger in America looks like.
Shut up.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was just like 2 patties and some bacon and some other stuff. And I was like, cool, that's a normal American burger.
Wow.
And in his mind, this is like, that's a ginormous food,
Like they
which
just have
I thought
sliders
was
over there.
Yeah.
it was just hilarious to me that basically like a 1-pound burger was ginormous in their mind. So yeah, there's
I have
definitely
something
a
for
cultural
you.
disconnect.
Absolutely. So my mom is from Germany. I've gone to Germany a few times, whatever. The whole thing when you go over there is you eat schnitzel, which is like a hand-pounded, basically pork breast, deep-fried, breaded. You can put it with sauce on it, mushrooms, gravy, whatever. My family eats schnitzel fantastico, which is schnitzel with basically provolone and some kind of cheese and like a cream sauce. When they bring it out to you, it is literally a ginormous food. It is not portrayed or written on the menu, or there's nothing to let you believe that this is going to be a huge pork chop, probably 3 times the size of your face. And it's just like, here you go. Like, so it's just funny to me that like you could probably go to Germany and find like a schnitzel like the size of like 8 feet long, and then they'd be like, okay, I guess this is ginormous. Because the normal portions that they give you for anything over there is ridiculous. It's just like out of control.
Italy's that way too. Like, you know, there is no such thing as not family style in actual Italy when it comes to the portion. So
yeah, it's just like we're just gonna eat lunch. It's gonna take about 4 hours. You're gonna have some wine, maybe have sex, take a nap, and then dinner will be like 2 hours after that, and then it'll be the whole same thing again.
Food's such a big part of like their whole family dynamic over
there.
Too.
Yeah.
It's just
well, that's the same. That's how I felt when James Gandolfini died over there. People were like, "Oh, I wonder what happened." I go, "He did Italy." Some people go to Italy.
Yeah.
James Gandolfini did Italy. There's a difference. When you do it, it should kill you.
Right. He did a good job.
Yeah, it's definitely not
some of you guys tip your toe into Italy and you have a little taste of it. He went over there and he treated that shit like he had an all-day pass at Disneyland. Like, we're going to hit every ride. We're not going to miss any of the dishes on the menus. We're going to do Italy. Strap in. It's going to be a whole week.
What do you got? What do you got coming up besides the show? Anything? Any other projects that you're working on at the moment?
No. Ginormous Food is pretty much, no pun intended, eating up all my time. So we've been doing. We were doing a live, what I call Bite Companion podcast of March of the Pigs, where we're doing like a live commentary track along with replays of the episodes. Hey, we'll continue to do that.
Sorry, I'm laughing because Sarge.
Start airing.
I'm laughing because Sarge said that your podcast was called March of the Penguins earlier. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh no! But I was saying I'll continue to do those Bite Companions as the new episodes are airing, and then, you know, March of the Pigs episodes. I'm working on some pretty big guests for us coming up, so hopefully we can get some of those episodes out while I'm on the road, traveling and filming. But yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to kind of keep tabs on where we're going and what I'm doing, they can just subscribe to my events on my Facebook page, and you can also find that on my website, which is just joshdennycomedy.com. So all the news of where we'll be and what we're doing is on there. It's the best way to go.
All right, cool.
How often are you putting out the podcast episodes? March of the Pigs.
Yeah, March of the Pigs. I try to do them every week, but you know, sometimes travel prohibits that from happening as frequent as you'd like. But yeah, I try to do it weekly.
I'm gonna start. It's gonna be added to my regular list of podcasts that I listen to. We've had a few good handful of podcasters on here, and they're now all part of my regular listening schedule.
Right.
But do you have co-hosts on the podcast?
Sometimes, like when I'm in LA, I film at the Unpopular Opinion Studios. So my buddy Adam Todd Brown, who's a comic and a writer, he'll jump on and co-host with me when I'm in the studio with him. But for the most part, it's just me and my guests.
Cool. Well, we might have to send you the upcoming list of the new state fair foods this year, and you might have to come to the fair and like give a little review about all that stuff, or just at least trial of them in like 2 hours or something. I don't know. Come to the frickin' Minnesota State Fair. It's amazing.
Well, that's one the cool thing about doing episodes in blocks of 13. The way we film is we kind of have this one extra episode that kind of fits outside of our schedule. So for this block, we just ended up doing a fourth city in a row where we normally do 3 cities, so it's just going to run a little bit long. But what I would love to do, if we get more episodes in the summertime, is if we do hit some of the great state fair cities like Minneapolis or Iowa, I should say states, but I would love to do some extra days where we put together a GINORMOUS Food, state fair episode where it's all foods that you find at state fairs.
Yeah,
that'd be
cool.
awesome.
That'd be a good one.
And that would be
good.
very easy for us to do, because we could essentially, like if we scheduled it right, we did Des Moines and Minneapolis and Milwaukee, all the areas where you've got some good ones, and then obviously the ones in Texas. Mm-hmm. We could just add another day of filming to our regular schedule, still churn out our city by city episodes, and then put together 3 or 4 state fair visit shoot days where we make that 13th episode that comes out from the summer. So, fingers crossed, if we get more episodes beyond these 13, maybe we could do some cool themed episodes like state fairs. The other one I'd love to do is college football tailgate.
Oh,
that'd be
cool.
That'd be super cool. We've got a podcasting buddy that or duo that has a podcast out of Texas. Accidentally, the whole tip, that would be a good contact for the state fair situation in Texas, because they have the biggest one, I think, out of the whole country, right?
Is it?
Yeah, well, and that was always the ones in the Midwest. I think the 3 biggest in the country are actually Minnesota, I think, is the 3rd or the 2nd. I think Nebraska is in the mix as well, and then I think the Texas State Fair is the absolute biggest one. So.
Right. Yep.
I say everything is big.
That's where they have the fried butter, yo.
Fried butter.
Yeah. It's deep fried butter.
Things like that.
It's basically like an English muffin.
That's why the rest of the world hates us. Things like that. Deep fried butter.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. We go to the LA County Fair and sometimes the Orange County Fair out here every year, and it's a lot of very fit people looking at the deep fried Twinkies and judging. And we're just in line eating the deep fried Twinkies and being judged.
I do some deep fried Twinkies, but like deep fried stick of butter, that seems a little ridiculous.
Well, my mom used
like
to
an English
just eat
muffin.
butter while she was cooking when I was a kid, so she
my
probably
sister
liked that.
did
I
that.
agree. I agree with you, though. It's gross. To me, like, the only way I like butter is if it's cooked into food. I don't even like putting it on food.
Oh, really? I love it on food. My sister did the same thing. She would eat a stick of butter like it was a fucking ice cream cone or something.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
It is pretty gross.
Is probably the LA County Fair is probably the only place you could get deep fried avocado in the entire fair circuit.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
That sounds kind of good.
So I actually have the 2016 rankings for state fairs. Number 1 is the Illinois State Fair.
What?
Second is Iowa. Third is Alaska.
What?
Because they have the most jaw-dropping produce. They're
Is this by size, though? We're talking size.
no, we're talking about just how they were rated. I don't know. Size.
Oh, no, we were talking about size, like the biggest state fairs.
I'm just talking
Right?
about accreditations. I don't know.
They're just ranking
Google is always right, right? The
saying
internet is never wrong.
They're ranking how badass they are. They're not ranking the size.
They're just, I think, saying, like, these are cool things about these fairs, so we're ranking them 1 through 6. But Minnesota made it, and Texas did too. So New York is number 4, Minnesota's number 5, and Texas is number 6. But Texas has been declared the largest fair in the United States. It has 76 outrageous thrill rides. So you can go eat a bunch of food, puke your brains out.
Yeah, well, to me, I guess I would judge it by which one uses the most land, right? That's how you would assume is the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure Texas is like acreage. It's like massive amounts of acres that they do the state fair on. So
Yeah, I agree. I've heard that Texas is not only the biggest, but like the most popular. Like all the things Texas wins.
They're not going to allow any other state's fair to be bigger than theirs.
Well,
Not happening. It's Texas.
that's fine.
Everything's bigger. All right. Well, Josh, I think it's about time to wrap this bitch up. Thank you for
sounds good.
Thank you for sharing your time with us tonight.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it so much.
And
thanks for having me, guys. I enjoyed it.
And yeah, we're gonna look forward to the upcoming episodes of Ginormous Food.
Yeah, and hopefully we get out to Minnesota if we get to do more episodes. We won't be getting up there in this next block, but if we get an extension or we get to do more, I'm sure we'll hit it eventually. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely
All
let you guys know if we get up that way.
Yeah, that'd be
Perfect.
awesome. Keep us updated. All right, my friend. You have a good night.
All right, thanks. You too,
Thanks,
guys.
Josh. Bye.
Okay, that was our guest, Josh Denny, comedian and host of Ginormous Food on the Food Network.
Ginormous Food.
And he's got that podcast, March of the Pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So check
Stand-up
that
comedian.
out. Stand-up comedian. Yep, he's a funny guy, and he's got a good show there going on. He broke it down for us a bit, so that was cool.
Yeah.
To find all that out and get to know him a bit. So thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Let's what do we got coming up? We got some shout-outs we want to give.
Yes, we do. Our first shout out is to Kevin Goatee of Comics Watching Comics. They are about to start casting for their episodes 5 and 6. Currently open. If you are going to be in the New York area on March 25th, they are going to do a recording at the New York Comedy Club at 10 o'clock. And no, he cannot change the time, so don't even ask him to do it. Because he'll punch you in the face.
Yeah.
But you have to have 3 years comedic experience. He wants you to send some videos or audio that he can actually hear what you're talking about. It's a really awesome opportunity. Great guy, friend of our podcast. So make sure you check out Comics Watching Comics. You can find their Facebook page on Facebook. Also, their episodes on YouTube. So, hey,
Yeah,
Kevin.
That's a good show. I love that show.
Yeah.
And they've got something coming up in Atlanta, too, don't they?
Yeah, I think he's actually there now, maybe.
Yeah, they're doing, I suppose that's going on now. They're doing like a live show, Comics Watching Comics, like a mini episodes thingy in Atlanta, so that sounds cool. Let's give a shout out to Salvatore Mitsu. He's got that web series Americano that's dropping soon. Right now they've got all kinds of people that are donating to the show. Because they're fans and they want to be able to contribute and see that show be a success. So we're looking forward to that coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You can find more details on Facebook and YouTube. What else we got?
We got 502 of Comedy. Shout out to Mike Caswell and Melissa McClay. Hey guys, and everyone else there at 502 Comedy. Doing some good things over there, and really enjoyed our interview last week with Mike. Good dude. So hey, what up?
And I want to give a shout out to Larry Roberts and JJ from Accidentally the Whole Tip podcast. What's up, guys?
Oh, hey, guys.
Very, very good friends of the show. And awesome people that we've gotten to know so far.
Yeah, they're like our podcast besties.
Let's see who we got coming up for the show. Josh Denny was our last episode of February.
Yeah, we're into March now. Crazy.
And March is a big month.
Mm-hmm.
Real big month. We have a lot of guests in March, and the first one we have coming up on March 1st is Angelo Vecchio, Minnesota guy.
The
so that's
Vesh,
awesome.
yeah.
The
Super
Vesh.
pumped about that.
He's a stand-up comedian, and he does these like comedic rap battle things. You can find those on YouTube. They're really cool.
Yeah, super talented.
Talented dudes, yeah. He just tears some dudes apart. And then the next day, we have a doubleheader. A rare first-time doubleheader for the Sarge Approved podcast. In the afternoon, we have actor and comedian Johnny Pemberton. He's on that show Son of Zorn on Fox.
He is the son of Zorn.
He is. And another friend of the show is going to guest host that one, Andrew Steiner. He's a comedian and host of Weird Ball. Mm-hmm. He used to be Riddle of the Sphinx.
Yep, also stand-up comedian. Awesome dude.
And then in the afternoon, in the evening, actually, we have comedian Sam Tripoli.
Yep.
That'd be another interesting one. That's a funny-ass guy.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it for that week, the first week of March.
And lots of other things in March, but you're going to have to go to our website to check those out.
Yeah, you can
which
go
is what?
sargeproof.com.
Yeah.
You can go to like our guest calendar and look back at all the previous guests we've had on and the ones that are about to come on in the future. And you can go and check out all our episodes are on the website. You can find our episodes on Spreaker, iTunes. We're on Google Play Music, YouTube. You just type in Sergeant Proof. It's not that hard to find us. You'll figure it out, trust me. And you can also mosey on over to National Survival Center. Get yourself some badass gear.
Buy some stuff.
It's camping season's coming up soon, so you can get yourself some gear if you just want to go camping or if you want to stock up for the zombie apocalypse, because that shit's happening any day now. And they got free shipping on pretty much all their gear. It's top-notch gear. Name brand stuff. It's all been hand tested, and it's going to be, I guarantee, cheaper than any big box store and probably anywhere else you're going to find on the internet. So go check them out. NationalSurvivalCenter.com or SurviveDon'tSuffer.com. That's their motto.
Yeah, just don't even suffer. Just survive and buy the stuff.
Quit it. All right. Anything else, Renzi? Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think that's it.
Let's wrap this thing
We're good.
up, huh?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to play this episode out with a song by AWOL called Food. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Bye.
Later, fuckers.
All cops listening to this album don't give us tickets. We'll give you donuts if you don't give us a ticket.
I remember I was teething, little gums bleeding. Cried every evening, it was all about eating. When I became a teen, it was all about beefing. Now I'm ready for the world. Try and sink my teeth in, stacking extra cheese like my pizza on the weekend. This is how to eat to live, but not Elijah's teachings. The pigs still poison, but we didn't believe them. Made a pot full of cops with bullets as the seasoning. What's on the menu, cause it changed every season. Snitch sickles every summer, and the freezer's where we leave them. I had oodles and noodles, barbecue corn chips. You was probably eating up some silky in the porn flick. I try to keep the same balance I was born with. Everybody got grills, turkey or chicken, stupid or scared, no work in the kitchen now. Who put you there in that perfect position now? Bullies want your food, and you ain't really beat. Have you ever went over your friend's house to eat?
Good question. We don't teach you how to go without the food you love. We'll be showing you how to eat the things you like.
Welcome to McRob You. You like to try a value meal? We got a special on steel, plus a 9-piece deal that comes with the Coke, banana clip floats. Peel off Broadway and Park Place to scope. Move it around so you spit like me. Fine wine refinery, almost everywhere like green giant peas. That's number one. Wrap it up to go. Pop toast, keep the flame on low. Pop roast got me rolling dough with 5 stars like the chef on cream. Cool whips, hit Big Mac machines. Tips for fiends, keep the greens in your hot pockets. Full rack of ribs, niggas wanna Weight Watch it. Fresh, I like legs, thighs, and I kill breasts. Get blessed like bow your head and all be fed. Digging for that rare, cut it up, it blend. So sick, cook seafood fast. In the lab like I work at the Krusty Krab. T-Bone, tell 'em.
It's just another MC Mash.
Now